Hey, what's going on, guys? While Union Arena does have a lot of pros and cons, today I wanted to make a video talking about, in my opinion, one of the card game's biggest pros, which is its place in the card game space. In my opinion, with a lot of the card games out there that are as old as they are, as competitive as they are, in my opinion, Union Arena does have a really nice role right now with it being a super casual card game and being really easy to get into, attracting new players. I think it's a great card game for people who have never played card games before, sort of like myself. While I've always collected them, I've never actually gone out and played locally. Fusion World allowed me to do that as well, but Union Arena, in my opinion, is also right there along with it, as well as a few other new player card games as well. But yeah, such a good card game if you're looking for one to dive into for the first time ever. And while I don't have any new player guides out for the game right now, I've been back and forth on doing it, but if that is something you'd like, definitely let me know. I did just want to mention that the Bandai card game tutorial app is a great way to learn. The Union Arena tutorial app through Bandai, you can download it on your phone for free, or you can play it through their official website. Yeah, that's a great way to learn. Obviously, I'm sure there's other guides you might be able to find online as well. Haven't looked into them myself, but been meaning to make them on the channel just to have them to point people to, so if that is something you want to see, let me know. But yeah, the tutorial app is a great way to learn the basics. Just wanted to mention that. With it being a super casual card game, as well as lots of options to choose from, so many different animes, also a super affordable card game to dive into, which is obviously one of the best attracting factors as well. On top of that, starter decks are super top tier, so as long as there's a starter deck that you're attracted to in a set that you want to dive into, there's definitely going to be a lot of options for you at a really low price. But on top of that, if you've never played card games, this is a really awesome video that I wanted to make for you, just because, yeah, this is a great card game to go out and try to play locally for the first time if you never have before. Great way to experience that. But yeah, while some sets are a little older than others, and we are going into this era in 2026 of Union Arena where, you know, we are going to go into an era of power creep because we are getting these newer sets that are going to be stronger than ever, which, if you're going into those sets, awesome, but if you're diving into some older sets, just bear that in mind. If you do end up choosing one of the older IPs that might not have super strong decks at the moment, there are always Volume 2s that are coming out to buff them later, but on top of that, in my opinion, some of the older decks, as long as you are picking some of the stronger ones, definitely do have a chance to stand out still, even amongst the newer sets that are coming out, because at the end of the day, in the Union Arena card game, if a deck is playing fast enough, if it's removing stuff enough, if it's doing the right things, it's going to be a good deck regardless of how old it is. So just keep that in mind. Doesn't really matter at the moment what IP you're diving into, in my opinion. As long as you're picking the better decks, you're definitely going to have a good chance to have some fun and stand out. But on top of that, it's a really casual card game, so there's a good chance if you're just going to play locally, play with friends and stuff, you're going to be able to have some fun with some random decks. Doesn't really matter what you choose, but there's a lot of good options amongst a lot of different animes for sure. Obviously, that could be a whole video in its own right. What are the best decks from each anime? Definitely could do that, but definitely just want to focus on what makes this a great card game for new players, and that's definitely one of the factors for sure. Obviously, do your own research when you're choosing an anime and which decks are better than others, but yeah, just keep that in mind. In my opinion, you could go back to Demon Slayer Volume 1 right now before the Volume 2 buffs come out, and there's still some decks that you could honestly get some wins with, in my opinion, and that's almost a year-old set at this point. But yeah, even with Volume 2s, which if you don't know are basically booster volumes, it's really cool that if your deck starts to feel like it's falling off, hopefully if a Volume 2 is on the horizon, or if there is hopes of one, the second that it does drop, you're back in the game again. And if you are only playing for one or two anime, it's a great way to sort of like keep you in the loop for those periods of time. But again, at the end of the day, in my opinion, as long as you're playing the deck right and you're picking the right decks, they have a good chance to stand out no matter how old they are. And while we are definitely, again, in 2026, entering this new era of the sets coming out where they're not going to be super old in Japan, meaning they're newer than ever, essentially. Basically what I'm getting into here is while the cards are evolving for sure, and we're getting more text than ever, more effects to understand, more different play styles, it is still a pretty simple card game and very easy to understand. You know, not to the point where you're going to have to learn a whole bunch of different key phrases. On top of that, the key phrases actually still have like the definitions within them, and there's not so many or enough to the point where it's going to overcomplicate things. The text hasn't gotten too crazy just yet in the card game, again, while we are entering that era soon enough, I'm sure, as card games develop, right? At the end of the day, once you learn what the text usually are getting at, it's not a lot to understand. They more or less, you know, they're pretty simple things to understand for sure, which is really nice. Again, pros and cons depending on what you're looking for in a card game, but for a newer, super casual, super easy to understand and fun aspect, it works great. And on top of apps for the card game, if you are ready to go play locally, you've found the cards that you want to dive in with, another really cool thing about Union Arena and all Bandai card games is that if you want to see if there's local games to play, you can actually check on the Bandai TCG Plus app. If you download that, you can pull up your local shops, see if there's any tournaments that are available for sign up and stuff like that. And if there is, you can actually sign up and just show up and start playing. You can also, of course, call your local shops, go check them out, ask your shops there if they're doing a Union Arena tournament, etc. But yeah, you can also just pull up the app and check too, which is really, really cool. And again, from my experience, everywhere I've gone, at least in Denver, Colorado, around the area, everyone's been super friendly, and that's what I've heard online as well. Is with a card game that's bringing in new players and more on a casual level, you do tend to find a really, really friendly community where people are just here to have fun and have a good time. Surely, you know, that's everyone's intention when they're playing other card games, but when there's more on the line with more competitive decks and people have been playing it for so many more years, etc., it's not surprising that, you know, not every scene is going to be as friendly and casual, but it's crazy how with Union Arena it does seem to be a super, super friendly, casual card game community where if you're a brand new player and you just show up and you're nervous about maybe doing some things wrong and you're just looking for some help and you want to have some fun, there's a very good chance that you're going to show up and you're going to find just that, people who want to help you get into the card game and help you learn. And again, keep that in mind. I would assume with most card games at the right areas, that is going to be the situation. But I just wanted to put down anyone's doubts if they were wondering that now, because from what I've heard online, everyone's community seems to be very, very welcoming. But yeah, again, on top of that, the card game is super, super cheap to get into. I actually just recently posted a market video, which actually goes into box prices, buying singles for your deck, stuff like that. So definitely check that out because that's a great way to just give you a nice idea as to what the prices for Union Arena cards are. Even if you're just a collector, buying the alt arts in this game can be super, super, super cheap. So yeah, just diving into the card game without having to invest a lot of money, you are totally good there. It's so nice. If you want to just dive in with some starter decks, get some singles to buff the deck and stuff, you could probably do that for under $40, and if you do it with the right IPs like JJK or I don't know, Full Metal Alchemist, you could have a really, really good deck for a really, really cheap price. But yeah, some of the best starter decks off the top of my head: Demon Slayer, Jujutsu Kaisen, Sword Art Online. Those cards from those starter decks, which if you don't know in this game, the starter decks are exclusive cards most of the time. There are going to be some cards in the starter deck that you get duplicates of in the main box, but there are starter deck exclusive cards, and in most starter decks, when the starter decks are good, when they are part of top tier decks, which a lot of the time they are, the starter deck cards are very, very important. So keep that in mind. The starter decks are very cheap, very good, and with a lot of different IPs, very good choices to dive in with. But yeah, with 2026 bringing in some really, really big titles and again, newer IPs. I've mentioned this in a few other videos, but if you don't know, a lot of the sets that we were getting over the last year were about a year old in Japan versus a lot of the sets we'll be getting in 2026, if not all of them going forward, are going to be only a few months old in Japan. Essentially, coming out to stronger sets overall, right? Since Japan is dropping sets for their meta, probably keeping ours in mind as well a little bit, but overall they're dropping sets for their meta. Ours is going to hit a huge power creep and change. So if you are diving into Union Arena for the first time and you're watching this right now, I would recommend potentially holding off for some of the newer sets if possible, but at the end of the day, I do believe every IP has strong decks that you can dive in with. Even going into 2026, I doubt the decks and the new sets coming out are going to be that strong. Again, even Volume 1 Demon Slayer, Yellow, Nezuko, and Tanjiro, I would honestly say is a pretty solid deck before even the Volume 2 buffs drop, and those are some older buffs. So just for example, Blue SAO, etc., I would not put those decks down even in this new sets coming out, just because of how fast they play, etc. So just keep that in mind. One of the best parts about this card game is while there is going to be power creep and there are going to be some really strong sets that are probably better to dive in with versus older ones, you're still not going to be hurting yourself too bad diving into your favorite animes, as long as you do keep in mind which decks are better than others diving into those animes. But I do believe every IP has some really strong deck choices for sure, at least one or two, if not more. And on top of that, with 2026, we have no idea what the future looks like. There's a chance that we get Volume 2s and 3s for every single set that we have in North America right now. So on top of that, it makes every single thing more powerful when those drop, you know? So yeah, just keep that in mind. I don't think any IP or anime is getting left behind going into 2026, even if it does take a little bit of time. And if anything, it's just more encouraging to dive in, play this game super casually, only play it for your favorite animes, you know, maybe dip out when your decks aren't performing super well, but then come back when the new volumes drop, or just hop into whatever anime you want to dive into next. It's a great card game to just have fun, collect, play casually, and if you really want to get into the competitive side, there is a scene for that. But yeah, overall, the goal for this video is hopefully to encourage a few people out there, if they've been debating playing locally for the first time, to go try it out. And honestly, if you're like debating playing something super high competitive with more pressure on it, like Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic the Gathering, I don't know, I'm just throwing out stuff, Gundam, who knows, I don't know, stuff you're not super comfortable with because you haven't played locally, but you want to break that ice first of just playing locally, honestly, do it with Union Arena. Just do it. You know, it's less pressure and you're gonna go have fun, break the ice of playing locally, and then you can go think about playing those other card games. Definitely not a bad idea. But yeah, overall, go support your local shops, go have fun, go support the scene. The best way to grow it is to go be a part of it as often as you can be. Obviously, it comes down to the shops as well, doing their part. That is definitely something to mention. You know, I hope if you guys do go play locally, you find the right shops as well, because there's definitely, I'll say this, from going to different shops, different vibes at different locations, different support goes a long way, even just in free packs and stuff. I'll say that. It really makes people want to come back versus not. So just keep that in mind as well. Make sure you're going to the right place too. If the shop isn't super good, maybe try to find a different place. But overall, in my opinion, the TCG shops and the scenes can be really solid. So especially for Union Arena. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'm very curious. Let me know if you guys think I should drop like a brand new player's guide. I do think the tutorial app is a great way to just learn the basics, but if a video just kind of reiterating the basics of the tutorial app is a thing people want to see, I'm definitely down to drop that, as well as some other guides as well I've been debating making. I think a fun video also after making this would be something like good decks to dive in with from any anime, because again, knowing most of the animes at this point, especially after like the volume 2's dropped and stuff, definitely think there's some solid options no matter what anime you're looking at. But yeah, appreciate you guys watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.